Are we ready?
All right, ready.
No bras required. The podcast where two girlfriends talk about everything from diapers to death and do it all braless and brutally honest.
I'm Megan. I'm a mom of four, lifelong educator, dance studio owner, coffee and wine snob, and never afraid to speak my mind.
And I'm Patty, mom of three, teacher turned leader, dance boss, loud laughter, tequila enthusiast, and professionally unfiltered.
Together, we've got over 30 years in education, 7 kids, 2 studios, countless bottles of wine and tequila, and a whole lot of stories to share with you.
What's No Bras Required all about? It's a space for women like us who are juggling life, entrepreneurship, parenting, work, marriage, friendship, grief, joy, chaos, and just need some real talk.
So, whether you're sipping wine in leggings, hiding in your car, or rage cleaning your kitchen, we're here for you. Hey, Patty.
Hey Megan, how you doing today?
Oh man, it is a day, but we are here, and you know what? We're rocking and rolling. Like I said earlier, we're cooking with grease now. So,
Yeah, we are.
technical issues aside, let's rock and roll today.
It's been a little bit of a thing, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah, we had to like push all kinds of buttons, and we don't really know how we made this podcast happen today, but it's working, so we're gonna go with it.
And we're gonna go with it. Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Um, so today
Yes.
it's a deep one. Today's a deep one. It's not sexy. It's not about shopping smart. It's not about side hustles. It's about the moment we all avoid thinking about, which is what happens when I'm not here.
Hmm. And before you skip this episode, because it feels heavy and I know it's uncomfortable, stay with us because this conversation is not about fear. It's about leadership, it's about love, and it's about being the woman who handles her business.
Because we will spend 3 hours researching the best air fryer,
Ooh, I
but
got
we will not spend 30 minutes making sure that our kids aren't in legal crisis if something happens to us. So today is all about planning like a queen and handling your business.
yes. All right, so put on your crowns so you can just like feel queenly as
Yeah,
we go through this episode. Oh, we should have gotten crowns, Patty. We need
we
props.
should have. We should have.
Man. All right.
Um, I think it's important to note too, though, this is not free legal advice.
Oh to God, no. Not us.
So please do your due diligence, fact check us, because we are coming from different countries, different states, and different provinces, and those things matter. And what worked for us may not work for you.
Right.
So, yeah, just
Yeah. I know that.
disclaimer there that we are studio owners. We are not financial consultants,
Oh.
but we've been through some stuff.
Yep. So definitely find out from your accountant, your financial planner, run everything by them. But it's good to get at least have a strategy and to know where you should go and some things and questions you should ask these people who this is what they do for a living. So
Yeah.
here we are.
All right. So, part one, why women must think about this differently.
Well, friends,
I
you're
I
going to
was
live longer than your spouse, right? So, yeah,
yeah.
we got to think about this. What were you going to say? You got a story.
I like in preparing for this segment, I was doing some research. Do you know like the year I was born? So 1974, 51 years old, was the first year that women in North America were allowed a credit card or a loan without their husband's signature.
Yeah.
So it's like it seems archaic to me that my mother would have had to have asked my dad for permission to get a loan, permission to get a credit card, especially knowing that my mom was the one who handled the books and was the financially responsible one in my household growing up. Yet needed his permission to do anything and everything. It's mind-boggling to me. And so not even all that long ago, traditionally, everything was left up to the men. And it takes a while and a few generations for women to get on board or to have an equal say in these financial decisions and financial planning. So traditionally, it may not be what you grew up with in your household, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't have a plan. Because as Megan said, generally women live longer on average than our spouses.
Yeah. And so think about it. If we're going to live longer than our spouses, and you may have the grand plan like we do of when our spouses are gone, or maybe when they're not, but probably when they're gone, we're just going to make a compound and find an amazing place to live, and our children can just come and visit us. But it's going to be girlfriend time. But you may not have that plan, but no matter what you want to do in retirement or when your husband passes on, you need more retirement money than him. And it's a little hard when we're making 82 cents for every dollar that the men earn.
Yeah,
That means we got to actually save more than they do because we need more and we're making less. So our Social Security benefits tend to be smaller because we go out. We have to go on maternity leave. We have to have babies. They don't really appreciate it when you come back from maternity leave, like after pushing out a baby, nor do you want to. So we tend to take the time off of work, which then means you've earned less than your male counterparts and your husband. Um, you typically have less sick days and vacation days available to put towards retirement or to be paid out for that because you're using them to take care of sick kids. And then we're the caregivers. So we're taking care of sick parents and elderly parents and spouses and, all the things.
yeah,
So it's so much. I know it's a lot. And I know you're like, some of you are probably panicking at this moment. But hang in there because we're going to talk through some strategies that'll help.
yeah. And there's lots of places that are able to help you that if you do it in advance, they'll just take over if and when that time happens. Because the other thing is when you lose your partner, you lose like your person. You're not in a state to deal with the estate and the financial changes and all of that that come with it. So you can plan in advance for that as well. And this is just kind of to get women thinking about at least having the conversation. If your husband is the one that is in charge of your finances, have a plan and know where things are. Know what the passwords, the policies, where the investments are. Because hope is not a strategy, and my husband handles it is not a financial plan.
No. No, and it may be that, you and your husband are in a partnership together. I mean, I'll be honest, like Mike and I, we've done a lot of things to plan, but it's been so long since we
Well,
have. And we have things in the safe, we have things in the file drawer because, we're still old school. I am with the like file folders with the bills, which I know we don't have to keep, but I mean, I still have all of that stuff. And so honestly, it would be extremely stressful and would probably take me a good day to a week of let me go through and find all of these things. Some stuff is online because we're in that generation where like you started with it on paper and we were still writing those paper checks to pay our bills back in the day. And so you have like the paper trail for some stuff. Some stuff is online. Some stuff is through each other's works that we don't necessarily have access to. Some stuff
correct.
is that insurance, you do in November. For us in the US, we do it in November as like the elections, the yearly elections for your insurance. And then it just it floats somewhere. I don't
Yeah.
know where. Um, yeah. So like like when you think about it, if you don't have it in that one place, it's going to be very stressful on top of an already stressful situation, whether It's something that was expected or unexpected. When one partner goes, you're still overwhelmed. And on top of planning the funeral and dealing with the family and all of the other stuff that you have to do just to grieve, now you
Yeah.
have all of this. I love those things that have the notebook, like the binder, and they have all the folders and they kind of help you plan, like put all of your important stuff here. And it's like, if I die folder, or like at the studio, I call it my, if I get hit by a bus.
By bus. Yep.
Right. And they're like, oh, that's, who's going to get hit by a bus? And I was like, well, I work at a school. So it's, there's possibility. I do the buses
Yeah.
in the afternoon. They come rolling. I could get hit by a bus, like for real.
Yeah.
But if I get hit by a bus, here's the place where all the important stuff is that
Yeah.
you need to know. And I'm sure I'd missed some things, but at least, it takes some of that out of
Well,
the,
and it's a start. It's a start for those that are left behind.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
I know one of the things that my mom told me when I first got married, and I so appreciate my mom for all of these lessons that she gave me along the way when she was still with us. But she said, you make sure that you have some household bills in your name. And I
Mm,
was okay. And the reason for that was my grandmother. So married to my grandpa, I think they were married for like 42, 43 years before he passed. Every bill was in his name.
mm,
So when he passed, she had to move a phone into her name. She had to move. This woman had never had a credit card in her name. She had no credit after raising, you know, all of her kids, helping pay the bills, helping be part of this household, had no credit. Now, can you imagine the shock that that is trying to get a utility bill in your name that you've paid on time your entire life as a partnership, but they won't recognize it. The utility company won't recognize it. And I think that's so key. Like whether it be a credit card that's solely in your name, whether it's your cell phone bill solely in your name, have something with your home address on it that is in your name so that, you know, God forbid, if and when the time comes, you've built some credit up for yourself.
yeah. Well, and I think it's too important to know what is in your name and what is only in your spouse's name.
Yeah.
Like just thinking about that story, our utilities, our electric bill is always in Mike's name. I don't think it's in my name. I may be on it. I don't know. But like, should something happen to him, that goes on the checklist of I need to get this switched to me. I guess technically I could keep paying it. At some point, they're going to be like, he's not around anymore, right? Like
Yeah.
the death certificate goes through and they get alerts on things.
Yeah.
Um, and the other thing you have to consider is that when one spouse dies, usually for our generation, we are two working incomes. So you're losing half of your
Income.
income for the month and that's not coming back. I mean, if you're smart and you have the insurance and you have life insurance and you get their social security and those kinds of things, but that's only going to last for so long. So you need to plan, what do we do? And that's just good practice anyway, of trying to live off of one income and using the other income as a supplement,
Yeah.
because should one of you go, then it's not so
Yeah.
shocking to the
Yeah.
household budget.
Well, and that's if that insurance check comes in right away,
Right.
which is large. Like if you have a family that doesn't fight about the will, if you have a will, let's get into some of that first before we
Yes.
start talking about problems with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, so basic documents that every woman should have. So, number one, a will. decide who gets what, name your guardians for your minor children, and having conversations about who gets what frequently
Hmm.
and with everybody really prevents family disputes. Um, just without a will, the government decides.
Right.
And I can, like, a story that happened in our family. Um, as you know, my mom grew up on a farm. My grandparents were all about being incredibly fair. That was their thing. So as kids, we would grow up. Grandpa would take us for sleigh rides through the field. Like, hello, Western Canada in the winter. There are some benefits to the snow here. Sleigh rides with your grandfather is one of them. But he would pull us through the field and he'd be like, that's Gwen's quarter, that's Lorna's, that's Noel's, that's Dwayne's. And so growing up as a kid, I didn't really understand it. But as I got older, it's like, oh, like that quarter section of land was my mom and my grandparents. Like they put my mom's name on it. So then when my grandpa passed, it belonged to my grandmother and my mom. When my mom did up her will, she left that land to us three kids as her beneficiaries. But what happened was my mom actually predeceased my grandmother by 3 months. And so when the will came through and I was co-executor with my father, we found out that that made it null and void because that land now goes back to my grandmother. And my grandma and I had a conversation about it, and she goes, "I don't want you to worry. I've already got it at the lawyer. Like that's it's going to you three kids." And I was like, "Okay, so you know that this is what's happened?" And she's like, "Yes, I do." And I'm like, "Okay." Grandma passed away before she signed her will.
Mm.
So we were kind of like, what, like when you lose your mom and your grandmother within 3 months of each other, you're kind of like, who cares? It's just stuff. But my uncle phoned me because he was the executor and he goes, I just want you to know we have to go through probate because we have to fight the will.
Yep.
And I was like, why? What happened? He goes, well, that land has to go to you kids. But he goes, we have to fight to get it to be their wishes because legally it's not what they wanted. And he goes, so we're fighting because you kids don't have a legal right to it. And I was like, well, it's just stuff. He goes, no,
You
that was
need
their
it.
wishes.
Yeah.
So that's an example of a family that gets along. There's no animosity and wants to do what the deceased wanted. Had it been another way, which you hear about all the time,
Yep.
you're left open to the mercy of the courts and
Mm.
whatever is legally binding, and it may not be what the
What they
deceased
want.
wanted.
Yeah.
And I look back at that so many times, like through my like adult years, talking with friends and family, especially when it comes to farmland and things like that, how much it's torn certain families apart. And I think what a gift it was for grandma and grandpa to have always done that growing up on the farm. They didn't just tell me, it was me, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. They told everybody who was getting what.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's such an important point because the thing with a will and
Yeah.
that everybody needs to understand, and we don't understand it, right? Until you're in the midst of something like this. It does not avoid probate. It does not control retirement accounts. It does not automatically transfer bank accounts.
Nope.
So, like a will just designates your wishes of what you want to have happen. The most important things, and this is where we mess up a lot, is beneficiary designations override wills. So, if you are like on my retirement account, Mike is my beneficiary. My kids are my secondary beneficiaries. However, if I don't update that, like when I updated it last, I probably actually should look. Did I have four kids? Did I have two kids? Did I have, I don't know
Yeah.
how many kids I had when I did that last.
Yeah.
Um, so you need to make sure. And if you've been married before and then divorced and you still got to keep your retirement account or any of your like life
Yeah.
insurance or any of that stuff and you didn't have to split that up, you better look and see who your beneficiaries are because that overrides your will. So that ex-husband that you can't stand, he be gonna get lots of money from you. That's not good.
No.
Also, joint ownership and titles. So we had to deal with this. Um, Mike had to get a new car. I'm so not happy about it, but he was rear-ended. His car was totaled. He gets another new car. He went and bought himself a truck. He's very happy. He loves this truck. Like he'll just go and
Oh,
drive around. He's like, "Oh, do we need to do errands? Let me go drive my new truck." Great. However, I had an emergency at the studio and I was not able to be there when he bought the truck. My name is not on that truck. It's not on the title.
oh,
It's not on the anything because he bought it straight out by himself.
yeah,
So if he were to die, I won't necessarily get the truck. It'll have to go to probate because my name's not on the title.
yeah,
Like we're going to have to go through and get me added as joint owner on that truck. So there's no issues if something were to happen to him.
yeah,
So you've got to look at your vehicles and your deed on your house and all of those things because joint ownership overrides a lot of that stuff and keeps you out of probate. Um, the transfer on death and the payable on death forms, you should make sure you have those because then that's where the beneficiaries come in and that they know who to send stuff to. I know this is heavy. It's hard.
well, there's a lot to it, and it happens at a time when you're not in the right headspace
Right.
quite often. So that's why it's important to have that documentation. Um, you also need a power of attorney. So who
Hmm.
makes the financial decisions if you can't? Um,
And a
and that can be
medical power of
scary.
attorney.
Yeah,
Both.
personal directive. Yeah,
Yep. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Because that, and honestly, friends, those of you that are getting ready to have kids that become of age, this we learned. Yeah. When they turn 18, like Reagan's getting ready to turn 18. I know Charlie's turning 18. Um,
yeah,
we have to get the power of attorney, the medical power of attorney, and all like there, you can look it up. It's really easy to find online. Like, what forms do I need to
yeah,
have when my child turns 18? And it will come up for you, and you don't need to pay for them. A lot of them you can just print and then they sign it and you sign it. But you need that because should something happen to them in college, period. I mean, it doesn't matter whether they go to college or not. They can be living under your roof. You can still claim them as dependents. Should something happen to them, the hospitals won't talk to you. You have no control over their bank accounts because they're 18. So you need to have this paperwork in place because if something happens, you don't want to have to go through court to be declared a guardian to then have control over
yeah.
medical decisions and financial decisions and things like that if they were to become incapacitated. Terrible, but again, you're living through the worst of the worst and now you have this extra stress on top of it. You just don't want to have to deal with it.
No, and and then not only having those in place, but talking to the people that you've put in charge of this is what I want.
Yes.
So like I know life support became a big one with mom when she had cancer. Like, I don't want you to resuscitate me if this happens and this happens and this happens. Like, pull the plug. Those conversations were had.
Hmm.
They're not fun, but they are necessary. And when she was getting close to end of life, there was not that, well, what if? Because it was all in her NDR.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and those things are important, how much of that end of life
Yeah.
care, but also if you, and we don't know, honestly, we don't know. We don't understand Alzheimer's enough to understand like when dementia and Alzheimer's happen, and you need to have a plan for that.
Yeah.
Do you want memory care? Do you want to go into an assisted living home? Like at what point do you need to have these people in place and that they become the people who make those decisions for you? Um, and understanding what your wishes are. And, there is insurance, it's expensive, but we had to put my grandmother into assisted living. She has Alzheimer's. And I'm super lucky at 46 that I still have a living grandparent because that's not
Yep.
normal. Um, but she's had to go into assisted living and will eventually have to go into memory care. It is so expensive.
Yeah.
So expensive. Like $1,200 a week expensive. And that's for basic.
Yep.
Who has that kind of money laying around? And she's turning 90. So when you think about your retirement, you retired at 65, maybe you work till 70, depending on how you planned out your retirement.
Yep.
By the time you need that, most of your retirement savings has been spent. And
Yes.
then what?
And
Right?
then what? Yeah.
And then what? And so, you know, Medicare does not cover long-term care.
No.
It won't do it. So are you going to put that burden on your kids to take care of you? Do you have a way or an insurance? Like, luckily, my step grandfather had long-term care, so his is paid for. But my mom and her sister and her brother, but mostly my mom, and her sister are having to really cover the long-term care
Yeah.
and pay for my grandmother. And that puts a financial burden on them right as they are at retirement age,
Yep.
getting ready to, you know, pull out of their savings. And it's not something that they planned for. So yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. And I think a lot of times we don't like to think about it because it's hard, but we need to make sure our babies don't feel the same
Yeah.
stress that a lot of us are feeling because people just didn't know. They just didn't know. And nobody likes to talk about this.
Well, in some households, it's like considered rude to talk about money.
Yeah.
Like we've talked about that before. Like some households just don't do it. Um, I was going to say too, a lot of insurance, like we went through this with dad. So he paid in, he's getting his Canada pension plan, his old age security, which is nothing. It's not enough to live off of.
Mm.
Um, and luckily, like mortgage is paid. So it's just like living expenses. But his life insurance policies were starting to pay out as well. And had we not caught it, like it's all declining. So then the amount that he would receive wasn't what he paid in, and his was a protected policy. So we ended up taking all of his out and putting it into an investment account. So instead of watching all of his hard earned income dwindle as he was needing it, it could still grow. But a lot of our investment policies, the way the government is set up, is not set to help investments grow once they hit a certain age. They're designed to dwindle them from about like the age of retirement on. And a lot of people are just unaware of that.
Yeah.
And it's like you've worked your whole life and then all of a sudden you have nothing left and you're in great health.
And we're
Like,
living longer.
could you imagine working your whole life and you're in great health and you're not happy about it because you don't have the money
Right?
to
Yeah.
take care of yourself, to live, to put food on your own table after everything that you've contributed over a lifetime? Like that's scary. So yeah, this talk is all about making sure that go sit down with a financial planner and find out what your financial independent number is. What it was for our parents is not going to be what we're going to need growing up. Like I think we're at 1.4 million by the time we retire in order to keep
sustain your
living the way
lifestyle. Yeah.
the lifestyle that we currently have.
Yeah.
Um, that's crazy to me.
Right. And that's assuming you don't get cancer, you don't have like a major medical issue that you
Yeah.
know, you are just sustaining a normal, somewhat healthy old age
Yeah.
of life.
Could continue living where we're living, like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of things that go into it. So sitting down with a financial planner and estate planner is just paramount to making sure that your family is looked after. Um,
Yeah. So let's talk retirement. Let's go
yeah,
into the
let's talk
retirement
about
numbers. Um, so nobody's funding your retirement.
it.
Sorry. It's not going to happen. Your kids are not going to go. I mean, we talk about this all the time in the dance world, but 1% of them are going to go on to be the big leagues. And if your kids are in dance, girl, they're not making money in dance. I mean, they're going to make just enough to live. Maybe you'll be the lucky one with like Travis Kelsey's mama, where she got two boys in the NFL, and I'm sure
Yeah,
they're funding a nice life for her, but she had to work really hard to get them there. But that is
yeah.
not everybody's story. So it's not going to be the kids. It's definitely not the government, because I can tell you, Social Security will be lucky if it's around in the US. And you call it old people tax. What is it? Your old age?
We call it, it's old age pension. So they get
Okay.
their Canada, um, like the
That's
retirement plan. Why can't I not
yeah.
remember what it's called
That's
right
so
now?
mean they call it old age. Like at least
Old age security, old age pension.
ours
Yeah.
is Social Security. At least it's
OAP. You know, as Canadians, we say it like it is
you
with
do.
love.
You do. You
You're
do.
old. Here's some money. Like, go
Yeah.
ahead, call me old.
Right. And then basically it's the taxes that you paid out over all of your years of working. But I don't know if you've looked at your Social Security statement. I mean, a lot of people don't. Every once in a while we'll get it in the mail, like usually at big birthdays, and they're like, this is how much you could
Yeah,
make, and here's how much you've contributed. And I'm like, okay, that won't
yeah.
cover the groceries. Cool, cool, cool,
Or
cool.
our Italian villa where we're going to go.
Right? We're going to be in Tuscany. You guys can come and find us and visit because it's going to be amazing. Yeah, but so knowing your retirement number is super important. We meet with our financial planner every 6 months, and he goes through, and like I have a pension. Well, for now I have a pension.
So, yeah,
Some of my pension is in Bitcoin, and that's really concerning, but we're not going to talk about that. And that's not by my choice. That's the state pension. And they invest it. And supposedly, after I've worked 30 years and I've contributed all of this time and effort to growing the young minds of the world and educating them, they will pay me my retirement. We're hoping. Right? I know. Actually, we're getting closer and closer. I think there's like 7 years left. Six,
you
seven.
get it.
I did that. But
Yeah,
I also contribute to a 401k on the side because I am not trusting that there is always going to be Social Security and my pension is going to be well funded for the rest of my life. I mean, things can change at any point in time.
yeah,
So, and then Mike fully funds his 401k, and we, hopefully we'll be able to live well. But like, you guys are in the same boat that we are here in the US. Over the last 5 or 6 years, the cost of living
skyrocketed.
it's insane.
Yeah,
It's way more than the typical 3%. So, like, the conversations now are okay, if we stay on this trajectory, I need more than just what we had talked about. Like, what is that going to look like?
yeah, yeah.
I don't know.
Well, that's like we've started to strongly push our kids to contributing now, um,
Yep.
because time is in your favor. Like that is the one benefit you have with youth when it comes to money is that you've got more time, hopefully, but again, not guaranteed. Um, so I know with our boys, like employer matches, if
Mm,
you have an employer that will match what you're contributing, That could even be a down payment on a first time home buyer's loan. Those like RRSP in Canada is what they're called, like contributions. And that goes a long way. You've also got that compound growth on your side, and it doesn't always match inflation, but it sure can help.
Yep.
And and then again, dealing with that longevity risk for especially for women because we tend to outlive our counterparts. So things that would be great to be asking yourself or your financial advisor, like if you stopped working tomorrow, what happens? And how long can you sustain your household? Do you know how much is in your retirement accounts? And do you know where they are? And do you have the account numbers? And am I relying on my partner's retirement plan as ours? So if you're a stay-at-home mom, like this is speaking largely to you, make sure that you're listed as that beneficiary. But then, and this is where a lot of women get into trouble if there is a divorce or something like that, you've contributed to a household and raising kids, but your retirement is now gone.
But you are, in some states, entitled to half of that retirement account. So don't let them tell you you're not. You fight for that
Yeah.
because that even if you were not contributing to it, you are contributing to the household and the marriage. And so, and if there's a pension, same thing. Like they will have to pay you out of that pension. So you fight. You
Yeah.
fight, you talk to your lawyer. I mean, good lawyers will tell you this, but that is something that is yours.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like have a plan to revisit things like your will, your living will, your power of attorney every 5 years, every major life road bump along the way. Um, you can have co-executors on certain things like property, things like that. But be aware that if you do have co-executors and one of them passes, you now have to, whoever your executor is, has to provide dual death certificates, not just for you, but for the co-executor. So that's why it's important to update because otherwise it's just more paperwork. And just even speaking on the paperwork, as parents, talk to your kids about what you want your funeral to look like.
Mm.
Do you have a plot that you've paid for? Because you can buy where you're going to rest forever. Do you want to be cremated? Do you want to be buried? Does your religious beliefs dictate some of that for you? Make sure that you have that written down or that you've had those discussions with your kids and not one kid, all your kids. Because when partners and spouses and girlfriends and boyfriends start coming in the picture, the kid that you raised is going to have an outside influence on those aspects. And they may no longer be in alignment with what you had in your household growing up.
Yep.
So those things are always tricky. And when mom passed, dad had said to me, I don't know anything about it. I shouldn't laugh about it, but it was kind of cute. I don't know anything about our finances. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he goes, well, I don't know where anything it is or where it goes or how much we spend. He was that scared him a little bit, and
Yeah.
rightfully so, because she looked after him. But he goes, well, she just gave me my monthly allowance. And that's what we did. I'm sitting there like grieving the loss of my mother, thinking at the same time, holy shit, I gotta put my dad on a budget.
Like I have to plan for you too. Yeah.
No, but what? Like, and you know, he was not great at following instructions. He liked to dig his heels in sometimes if he thought you were too bossy. So that was a learning curve. I know why mom did it. I know why she made me co-executor, but I like, wow, that was a bit of a shock. And so when we were going through everything, I said to my family, like I told my brother and sister, each of us needs to have a will and a binder with all of our important documents. And this is what I want you to have in it. And I don't care who your executor is, but make sure they know where that binder is.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it was a lot to go through at a time when you like you're not even functioning right. So you don't know if you're doing it right. And now, like having lost dad recently too, I am so grateful that we sat down and planned his funeral with him and the policy that he had purchased. His funeral was completely paid for. So that's another thing to think of. Like, if that insurance money doesn't come through, like an average, not too fancy funeral, you're looking at anywhere from $15,000 to $20,000 now with today's rates. Now that was with a plot that was already paid for, a tombstone that was already paid for, that just needed like the date added to it.
Yeah. It's so crazy.
So it's so crazy. And even just knowing those prices, it might change what you want to do for your family.
Yep.
Like, do I want to spend $4,000 to $6,000 on a casket and a tombstone, or am I okay getting cremated and putting in a stick me in a jar?
Yeah.
It's
Yeah. I mean, and you can write all of that into your will. You can write, I've seen a lot of people talk about a letter of intent
yeah,
of what matters to you, how you want people cared for, your guidance for your kids or your loved ones, just your personal kind of writing of of these are my wishes outside of the legal part of the will. Um, you can be like my mom has the binder, she has everything laid out. She has the spreadsheet. She has I mean, she's super hyper organized. And it's kind of morbid when we like come over and she's like, "Okay, I just need to show you where this is." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Okay, thanks, mom,
okay,
but you're going to be around." And she's like, "No, no, no, no. And these are the important people to call. And this is, and I'm like, "Yes, I know." And she's like,
yeah,
"Okay, but you and your brother are you can be the emotional one, not emotional, but like I would be the more like caring. My brother's an engineer. He is very like black and white, and this is the way things go. So it's
yeah,
the two of us deciding things because we each bring different strengths to
yeah,
the table. But she has it laid out like who's in charge of what and how things are going to go, and that like that's so helpful in the fact that at some point we're going to have to live that, and we're going to have to figure that out. And
yeah,
same with your kids. I mean, you've got to think about when you have children, what is going to happen to them? And, I know a lot of us are, our children are getting older,
yeah,
so they may not need a guardian, right? They may not need that person or that family to go to, like if something were to happen and both of us were to pass away, I don't necessarily need them to go and live with these other people, right? But a lot of times, when Mike and I were trying to make this decision for our kids, we had to think about if something were to happen to us and we have these four kids, how old are his parents?
yeah,
How old are my parents? And as much as we would love to think that, like, yes, our children will go to their grandparents, and are they going to be around? What happens if they're not? Do I want them to go with my siblings who each have four kids, or my younger brother who at the time was not married and didn't have kids? It'd be like an Uncle Buck situation, like wild
yeah,
and crazy. Like you'd be like, "What do I do with them? I can make coffee and we can play." Like,
yeah,
not exactly the parenting. I mean, we made a difficult decision that wasn't popular with our families, but we decided that they were going to go to our best friends. And we had a conversation with them, and we were like, these are the people that know them. I mean, my parents know them extremely well. I'm not saying that like our families don't, but they were the ones that we felt like could raise our kids the way that we raise our kids,
Yeah.
with the same values and the same things and would support them in their activities and would give them as much of a similar life to what we would have provided our kids. Now that they're older, and if something were to happen to both of us, they
Yeah.
don't need to take all of them, right? But they
Yeah.
need somewhere to go. They need someone to to guide them. They need someone to help them with the financial decisions and understand what to do with the money and all of
Yeah.
that piece. Like that's a lot for them. Like we had never thought we didn't have money at the time, but like now what we should set up trusts for our kids, like making sure the life insurance amount would
Yeah.
cover, like, if one of us died, would the life insurance amount that we get cover our income for however many years or be enough? My thing with us was, would it be enough to pay off the house,
Yeah.
any debt that we had, and have money for the kids for college? Because those are the big expenses that are stressful. Because if you can do that with whatever life insurance there is, then whoever is left and is working can cover the living expenses and be okay.
Yeah.
um it's hard. It's really,
Yeah.
really hard.
And and again, I keep coming back to it's a lot to process when you are in the middle of a major life upheaval
Yeah.
and the loss of somebody that you love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at our age, and for most of us listening, you're probably in somewhere around the same generation. You're older millennials, you're Gen X. Your spouse passing is tragic. It's not we lived till we were 95 and we made it, and like we were expecting it, and and I
Yeah.
don't know, we haven't lived that part of life yet, so I don't know. Do you wake up every morning and look and be like, are they still breathing? Are they still here? I don't know. When you're like,
Yeah.
it could be any day now. But like for us, it would be something tragic. It would
Yeah.
be a catastrophic illness, a car accident, like a heart attack. Like it is going to pull the rug right out from under you
Yeah.
and just send you into a tailspin. Because we all think we're going to live until we're well into our 90s, but we don't know when that day is going to come.
Yeah. 100%. And having these conversations and having these plans in place, if you have children, to me, planning is not optional. This is an act of motherhood.
Yeah.
You are providing for them past the point of you being here. Um, I will say too, one of the best things we did with Dad's policy, um, because it was a funeral policy for the purpose of when he is no longer here. So, like I said, funeral expenses and everything were paid out, but he also added on, it's called like a final document service.
Mm-hmm.
So when he passed, I had to phone the number. I had to book a meeting, and it took about an hour and a half. And we went through everything that needed to be canceled, updated, notified. So everything from like Canada Revenue Agency, like, is that your IRS?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
Okay.
like where you pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And where your pension comes from and all of that. Yeah. So we had to update those, canceling accounts like utilities, his cell phone, um, like his boating license, AMA, things like that. All of that was done. And I could not push this enough on people for how handy it was. Spent about an hour and a half on the phone with them. A week or two later, I get a package in the mail. All of the letters are written, self addressed envelopes already done, little arrows telling me where to sign and what to include with a checklist. Like, this one requires a death certificate. This one requires a death certificate and the boating license. This one requires father's death certificate, mother's death certificate, and copy of this page of the will. All of that was done. I just had to sit down and do what I was told. And man, was it easier than when mom passed. And I will push that for forever for people. Like finding somebody that does a final document service for the people that you love and are leaving behind, worth its weight in gold if you can afford it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was truly I think it was one of my favorite things. But also having like the book like you talked about, not just like this is where this is and this is the policies that we have and this is passwords, codes, blah blah blah, but um the conversation. So we planned dad's funeral. We talked about what he wanted it to be like. He wasn't so fancy on the flowers. He's like, ah, whatever, you girls decide, it'll be fine. But the things that did matter to him were all documented and in his funeral plans. And so I highly recommend it to anybody that if and if you can't afford to do it through a like a financial group or an investment group or an insurance group, there are things online that you can download to start the conversation so at least you know what the wishes are
Yeah.
and you can go from there because it's a tough time on a family, it's a tough time emotionally, and the things that you can do to make it easier in advance really help those left behind not question themselves on everything. Like, is this what they would have wanted? Because they know it is.
Yeah. Hey, let's go through a quick checklist of things that
Yeah.
you should have. Okay.
Yeah.
So you definitely need a will,
Yep. Updated will.
updated will, and recommended update your will within the last 3 to 5 years. Like every 3 to 5 years, you probably should look through it and just see if it needs updating. You may not need to update it, but just check it. Insurance policies,
Yep.
life
An
insurance.
account.
Yep.
Yep.
All of those things, have them printed, know where they are, like just have them. Um,
Um, One thing with the insurance companies too, because they change hands a lot.
mm,
This is why it's important to go through because you might have started with this insurance company, but it was bought out by this insurance company years later. When you're trying to find that insurance company as the executor or executrix of a will, it's like, what? Like it just adds to. So again, plugging for the update. You also need an account list, like everything from your utilities, your monthly bills, with account numbers and passwords if necessary. Um, like I find a lot of people my age, our parents aren't online, so it's kind of easier because you just go to the bank. But if everything is like for my kids, everything we do is online now. So things are gonna change on that. Um, and then like your password manager access, somebody should have access to your email so that when you need to get a new code or if you forgot the password, they can access and change things for you.
well, in your phone, they need the password to your phone because how
Yeah.
many things now are, oh, I get this code to my phone to type in to have access to change the password, or even like, oh, we don't recognize this browser or this device. So you've got to make sure you leave the password to your phone,
Yeah.
not just
Yeah.
your face, because that's gonna be real awkward if they have to like sneak into the morgue to do the like face
Yes.
ID. Like give
Yes.
them your code.
Yeah. You also need mortgage info. Like, so do you have a mortgage? Who is it with? And that goes for like any property too. Like if you own
Mhm.
land, if you own buildings, have all of that along with who's in charge. If you have a building manager, if you have who are the important professional contacts to have it in one place.
And check the deed. Like make sure that names are on the deeds, that you know who's on there, and if it's not both of you, do you need to put both of you on there? Yes, you do. All of that. Like try to give it, make sure that you don't have to go to probate as much as possible.
Yeah. Um, and then again, any investment accounts like through the bank, through financial institutions. financial advisors, and then like a contact list of lawyer advisors, accountants,
Yep.
the company name that they work for, direct numbers, anything like that.
Certificate,
It's
like your birth
certificate.
certificate, your marriage certificate, all of those things. And like in the US, we're having to go through this whole well, there's a lot that we're going through, but um it's been well, I won't get into the voting issue, but um you need your social security card. You need to know where your birth certificate is. They need to know where your marriage certificate is. If you get divorced, where that is. If there was a birth or adoption, where those are. All of those important certificates, because you need them, especially for women. Our names change when we get married, and so sometimes you have to prove the person is the person.
Yeah. Also, and just because I went through this with dad, where your safety deposit box keys are.
Mm,
So we had a set of safety deposit box keys. I knew he had one at the bank. I went in, they weren't the right keys. So now I have to find out where these other safety deposit box keys, what bank they belong to. And this is from, like, I'm kidding you not. They still had the deed to the first house, like that I was born at in another city that we haven't lived at for over 40 some years. Still had that paperwork. Don't know where those. I'm like, I'm gonna have to go to every bank in town and say, hey,
right,
do you know this guy
right. Do
or
these
this
keys
number?
look familiar? Do they work on
Yeah,
your bank? Yeah. Yeah,
yeah,
labeling the keys is always important. You know how I've gone through key, and I know we don't use keys as much anymore, but you go through a keychain and you're like, I don't even know what this key goes to. Yeah, yeah. One thing that I think
yeah,
is super important, because I know we have a lot of our audience, they're business owners.
yes.
Do you have a will for your business?
Uh,
And do you have who is going to take over, what the business interests are, clear instructions if it should be sold, if you have somebody that you want to deed the business to, how does that work? Do you have the paperwork aligned for that?
yeah,
Um, because that can get very, very messy. And also, then you've got to think about all of the paperwork that has your name on it, because a lot of us are like LLCs or sole
yeah,
proprietors, or, and if something were to happen, who has access to
yeah,
all of that, and that they can process all of that. Um, it just adds another layer, because that's the last
yeah.
thing your staff needs is, well, what do we do now? And do we have a job? And are we getting paid? And who can access the bank
Who could do it?
accounts? And yeah, it's a
Yeah.
lot.
And then again, have the conversation with the people that you're putting their names on your legal paperwork.
Hmm.
Because could you imagine, first of all, like your kids lose you, and then one of them finds out that they're inheriting the studio.
And they're like, what?
And they're like, what if it's not their dream? What
Yeah,
if they don't want it? Do I sell it? How would mom feel about that if I sold what she poured her life into? Like, it's important to have those conversations so people know. People know what you want to have. Don't throw them another surprise after they lose.
yeah.
Yeah, the
I
people
think,
that love them most.
yeah. And another one that we don't think about, but your social media. What do you want them to do with it? Do you want them to do the memorial page? Do you want them to delete it? Do you want them to archive it? Like, how do they even get into it? Your photos and everything that's in the cloud. First off,
Just
y'all better
thinking my
look through
sister.
what's in the cloud and make sure that when your children get access to that after you've died, there are not some naughty pictures and other things in there because I mean, some people lived a very interesting life before they became an adult, and everything's now in this cloud. So you may want to take an afternoon and just peruse what you
Everybody
got
needs
in
that
there.
friend that's gonna like hear the news and run to your house and use that spare key to like,
Yep.
empty out that
Delete
bedside
it.
drawer
I mean,
and
we've joked. We've said if I were to die, I need you to come to my house and delete our chat because it's gonna get us in
yeah.
trouble.
I was just thinking my sister's already hacked my Facebook account several times and like written tributes to herself on
Yeah.
my page. I'm like, Mike, that's how everybody will know is that, yeah, they'll have a field day with my social media. My God.
Oh,
Yeah. But largely, like this conversation, it's not about expecting something bad, but it is about removing chaos from the worst day for those you love.
yeah. So don't
Yeah.
be the woman who leaves behind 14 mystery accounts, 3 random crypto wallets, and a Pinterest board called important stuff with no explanation. Like,
And mystery safety deposit box keys.
right?
Don't be that guy.
Yeah. It's a lot.
It
It's a
is a
lot.
lot. Yeah. And planning for the future without you is it's not pessimistic, it's leadership. This is love.
Yeah. You are the CFO of your life, and CFOs plan for risk.
Yeah. So if we can, love to give you guys a call to action. Um, make it like a little bit of a challenge here. One, if you don't have a will, I want you to book a will appointment.
Y'all, you can even go online. Like we did ours on LegalZoom, but get it notarized, get it like
Yeah.
make sure there's witnesses, right? Like you don't want to just write it and hope that it is what it is. But I mean, you can do it online and then pay to have it filed. And
Make
then
sure you,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say review your beneficiaries
Yeah. Yeah.
because
Calculate that life insurance, know what you need to do.
yep. And all of them. Like the random insurances. Like you may get life insurance through work, but then you also have life insurance through this old work or all of that. Same thing with the retirement accounts. Go back and figure out where they are, how to log into them. And if you change jobs, did you roll that 401k over? Do you have a pension sitting out there somewhere that you forgot about? How do you combine and consolidate that?
Yeah. And then start an emergency fund if you don't have one, or start like a funeral insurance investment
Hmm.
so that things are paid for your family
Yeah.
if and when that time comes.
And I would look into, I mean, some things. You know what your family history is. A lot of employers offer these supplemental insurances, and you can even talk to your insurance agent if you have like everything in one
Yeah.
place. But look into like cancer insurance. Look into cardiac insurance if you were to get cancer or you were to have a heart attack. Is there insurance that would help with these medical bills? Because one of the things that is the biggest killer of wealth and people's money is medical issues, because we
Yeah.
know that our medical insurance does not cover it. Yeah, I'm just thinking of like poor James Vanderbeek, like he just passed away. And, reading the heartbreaking stories of like his family who's so in debt because of the cancer treatments and it has completely wiped them out. You don't want your family to have to set up a GoFundMe. I mean, and God bless if they do and people are kind enough to contribute and help take care of your family, but the more that you can have things in place, long-term care, if you end up in long-term care as you're older, go ahead and put a little bit towards that insurance. Even a little bit is going to help take a burden off of your family.
Yeah. Yeah. And then future you will thank you. And if the worst happens, your family will be protected and not panicked.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like everybody needs a drink after that.
I agree. I agree.
But it's really, really important. And so, one, we're super proud of you for even listening and possibly even thinking about this and then maybe taking some action and setting it up. That's progress. One step at a
100%.
time.
Yep. Plan like a queen and handle your business.
That's right. Oh, I love it. Yes, let's queen wave. We needed crowns, Patty. We really
We
needed
did.
crowns.
We did.
I know. All right. We're gonna work on our props. I feel like, I love a theme and I love to dress up. That was one of the times Patty and I first became really good friends was when we were trying to set up. You remember this? And we were at retreat and we were not paying attention at all because we got ourselves so distracted with themed dress up days for retreat.
Yeah.
We were coming up with our costumes and what we could do. And then we got in trouble.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure we got in trouble for not paying attention.
Did we got called out? And I was like, this is going to be my friend for life right here.
Forever.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. We think alike. Hey, and if you want to plan an inappropriate funeral with all the sassiness, Patty and I are your girls because this is our passion. It is our retirement plan. We can help you out. We have amazing ideas.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Because we are going out the way we lived, girl.
Yes. Great.
Lassie with a little side of smart assy.
Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, y'all. Well, thank you for joining us. And we have one more financial plan next week, right? Yeah. We're only in the mid-February. Y'all, February's felt so long. I don't even know what's going on anymore. Good Lord. The shortest month is always the longest month.
Truly, though.
Truly.
Truly.
And then we're going to blink and it'll be July and we don't know how we got there, but spring seems to go by so fast. But we have one more week of sharing some financial wisdom and knowledge. And then we will start on a new theme in March. So I know February was heavy, but this is important. It's always good to know all of these things, get them in place and protect yourself and protect your family. So thanks for hanging in there with us. And we will see you next time on No Bras Required.
Bye, guys.
Our goal for this podcast is to be that village where we can have those deeper conversations. We can talk about the serious things and walk each other home from diapers to death and all the things that come in between, but also to bring the humor and our crazy squirrel moments and all of our funny stories that we've lived from parenting to entrepreneurship to just being us and the adventures that we come up with. But we want to build a community and be those people to give you some sound advice that, maybe makes you giggle a little bit every once in a while.
So thank you for tuning in. Subscribe, share with your favorite hot mess mom friends, and give us a follow on Instagram at No Bras Required Pod.
Every week, we'll drop a new episode tackling everything from marriage and mom guilt to leadership and loss with humor, heart, and maybe a little tequila or wine. So bring your favorite drink and join us every week.